Hey everyone, welcome to the Cutting Edge podcast where culture meets crypto. Today we have a Montreal-based professional visual artist whose art explores human relationships, morphological diversity, body movements, and sexuality. Her works, like the generative collection, the Mona Lana, and her popular one-of-one pieces have caught the eye of many collectors, including myself. She's here to discuss her new drop, SOULMATE, a constantly evolving AI piece coming later this month. Please welcome Lana De Nina. Hi, Lana. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for taking the time to come on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. This is exciting.
Yeah. So, I wanted to start off with, I guess going over how you first. So apparently, you first learned how to draw by copying image from your childhood books when you were six, and then you started painting then after. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, where did you find it?
We found it in,
but
in our in our research.
but yeah, absolutely. So when I was young, I was a really quiet child, but I was reading a lot. But when I was reading book, I wasn't actually reading the books. I was looking at the pictures. So it was really fun to look at so many images when I was young, and I just wanted to recreate them by drawing them. And it's actually my big sister who started doing this. And when I was this age, I was always copying her. So I just did the same thing. And the more I was copying the drawing, the more I really love drawing, you know? And that's how it really started to make like really more detailed drawings. Before that, I was always drawing and making sketches, you know. But when I started recreating images that I will see on maybe more mangas or things like that, it really made my art more detailed.
Right. So you said your sister was also drawing as well?
She's
Or
really creative. She
oh,
was, but she doesn't actually like to draw. She's really
okay.
good at it, but she doesn't like it.
So it sounds like you have a creative family. Was creativity really pushed a lot while you were growing up?
Absolutely. My mom is really, really creative. She everything that touches creativity, she's good at it. She used to be a fashion designer. She studied in Paris. She did interior design. She did hair. So she did some paintings as well. So she's really, really into art. And my dad, he's an engineer, but he's really, really good at painting. And he's a musician as well. So he plays piano, and is all my family is really, really creative.
Oh, that's awesome. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's great that you had a family that creative. I assume they were pushing you to be creative as you were a child, as is evidenced by the fact that you were six when you started drawing. I still can't draw. Like I bet you, as a 6-year-old, is a better drawer than me right now. So I very much have been creative in like other aspects of my life. What I can't place that accent. What's the accent? Is it a French accent? A Canadian accent?
A mix of both
A mix?
because
Okay.
I was born in Benin in West Africa, and
Uh-huh.
then we moved to France because my dad is French. And then we moved to, but we were in the south of France, so it's a different accent. It's not like a Parisian accent. And then we moved to Quebec, so it's in Canada, but we speak French, and it's kind of like a more like it's a big accent in Quebec. So I got like a mix of like the south of France and the Quebec accent. So
Yeah, it's really
that's
interesting. I don't think I've ever heard it before, so that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so I guess so you started drawing when you were six, and then I assumed were you creative all throughout like middle school and high school and into college? Like, did you study something else and then come back to drawing, or what was that? What was your background like that kind of led you to here?
I've always been drawing. I never started drawing or painting. I started digital art when I was maybe 12, something like that. Okay, no, 14. And it really was a part of me, and I was following like a academic system. It was a little bit strict. It was private school, and but I was still like making drawings whenever like the teacher would be talking, and I even got like my drawing book confiscated like 5 times, and so very young, it was like making my art wasn't like it felt like a little bit bad in the academic system. So I never thought about studying arts. Um, so I studied biology.
Okay.
And yeah, I was really miserable in biology. It was really really bad, but I really enjoyed biology, like the what we were like studying, because I felt like it was really interesting. But seeing myself only like studying or working in biology, it wasn't possible, because I need to create. So after like 2 years or so of biology, I just stopped and took 1 year and only painted. And this is when I started. I was 19, and that's when I really told myself that I really wanted to be an artist and I wanted to do it this and only this. So I did not
Okay.
study arts at all.
So yeah, so then when you started working on art, right, and you made that your full time passion, what were you doing? Like, what were projects you were working on, and how did you end up finding NFTs? Because like you came in, I mean, we started talking like almost like a year ago. It was around this time last year, right? Or it might have been
Yeah.
February of last year. It was pretty early. It was around the time I remember Justin Aversano came in and you came in and you were one of the first black female artists that I saw, and we interacted a little bit. So how did you find the space, and what were you doing before, like right before you found it?
So right before I found the space, I was like making my career like the more traditional way. So like doing like physical works and murals and collabs with brands and things like that. But there was like something missing because I will paint or do murals, but I didn't really like enjoy it 100% because like my main medium is digital, and but there was like no way to sell my digital art before NFTs, so I always had to make paintings or like
Mm.
make merch or things like that, but it wasn't like really fulfilling for a digital artist because I will be seeing like all these artists who make like really big paintings and will be like exposing at galleries, but it wasn't the same for digital artists, because there was no way to sell our art.
Mhm.
And when I came across NFTs, um, I just understood one thing at the time because I didn't know anything about blockchain or Ethereum. Like I had no idea what it was, but I just understood that I could sell a digital asset online and show a proof of ownership. And when I saw that, it was like really life changing. And then I went all in and I learned everything about Web3, and I decided to do it 100% because I understood like the
Right.
purpose of NFTs.
Yeah. And so do you remember how you first heard about NFTs?
Yeah, it was my boyfriend at the time who told me about NFTs because he was really into blockchain and he came across NFT and he just told me like basics and he told me you should look into it. And then I looked into it, but he didn't at the time really, he didn't know anything really about it.
Nice. That's awesome. And I wanna talk a little bit about your artwork itself, right? And your pieces, right? In your pieces, a key theme is representing identity. Why is this meaningful for you to explore?
It's a main subject in my pieces because I mixed, and growing up, it was really hard to understand who I was, and there wasn't like maybe like any representation of mixed kids. at this time. Now you see a lot of mixed skin and lots of mixed people in TV, like in Euphoria and things like that. But growing up, there was like I always felt like the need of like showing myself through my paintings and show like other people who look like me and underrepresented people, because I felt like with my art I will be able to give them a voice.
Right. Yeah, and I think that makes total sense, right? And I think it's evident in the fact that you were one of the first persons of color artists, right, in the space that was really kind of featured, right? Because I remember how you were featured. I believe was it on the OpenSea main page, or was it
Yeah.
on yeah, you were featured on the OpenSea main page. I think pretty early on, like I think it was again like around this time last year, maybe April or May, because I remember we were talking about it, and I think that's amazing, right?
It was on foundation at this
Okay,
time.
foundation. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, and so
Bec-
like yeah, go.
yeah, okay. And it's just that when I wanted to start NFTs and was like making researches and things like that, I wasn't like seeing any artists who looked like me, and really like a very few black artists, but no woman black artists. So it
Yeah.
was really like hard to find like orientation in this way. That's why I since I was one of the first, that's why I was like speaking so much, you know?
Yeah, no, and I remember, what how do you think the space has changed in, the last year? Like we've seen a lot more people of color come into the space. Obviously there's more work that needs to be done, but as someone that was here a year ago, what is your impression of how the community has changed over the last year?
It changed so much. Everything changed, I think. Um, there are so many people now. I see a lot of diversity. Even like in the last few months, when I started the collection Mona Lana, there was like maybe two big projects featuring women and like one project with like diverse women, and now I see like five by per day, you know. So
Right.
just that, it's really encouraging and it's really beautiful to see, because all of this project I see like many of them are really successful. So it's really encouraging to keep going. And
Right.
yeah, everything in the space changed. Like everything has been like intensified, like
Right. Yeah.
multiply. Like I don't know what happened, but it's so big now, and now everyone like in even in Montreal at the time when I started, no one knew about NFTs, and but people they knew on Instagram that I was like doing things with NFTs, but they had no idea what it was. And now like everybody is talking to me about NFTs in Montreal, so
Right.
it proves that
And
so
I'm
much
sure,
people. Hmm.
yeah, and I'm sure a lot of them are coming to you, right, because of the difficulty of working with the traditional art world, right, and galleries not being able to market or sell their work, right. What you for you and your personal journey, why do you think it is that you were having so much difficulty in the traditional world that you were able to break through on the NFT side?
I think it was really this this thing that galleries did not understood digital art, and they were really close minded, I'll say. And also it lacks a lot of diversity in galleries. So not only like they were seeing like a black woman coming with her paintings, but at the same time they were digital, so it was like too much, So so it's really, and also it's really slow. You need to There's so many steps to be able to showcase your art in galleries or in fairs. They want like requirements like a CV, they want like so many, they want you
Mhm.
to have done so many things, like, and it's impossible if you are only starting.
Right.
So with NFTs, there's so many possibilities because everything is decentralized, and you do your own thing, So there's no like things you need to
Right.
have in order to do something. You can just do it.
So now that you have a following in Web3, uh, are you interested in working with galleries from the traditional world, or are you just sticking with the pure Web3 world?
I'm interested to work with galleries that understand the tech and digital art. So if they show me like they understand it and they can really embrace it, I don't see any reason of why not working with them. So absolutely.
So what I guess what suggestions do you have to galleries that are interested in working with Web3 artists like yourself? Like what would make you really interested to work with a gallery?
What will be really interesting to work with galleries? It's because they're really professional in curation and in displays, so they will create like a full experience physically, so they will find like really nice screens and nice backgrounds to display the art. So it will be, I feel like galleries, they make really stunning exhibitions. And NFT galleries, there are a few, but often they're not like professional in exhibitions, physical exhibition. So I think that like a mix of both world would be really nice.
Right. Yeah, so you're basically looking for a gallery that understands the space but still presents the art in a manner that you want.
Exactly.
Right. All right, cool. So, you had immediate success coming into Web3, making $300,000 in just 10 months. Did you have a plan on how to be profitable? Like, did you have a plan coming in, or, was it all kind of like learning as you go? Like, how did that work? Like, how were you able to do it?
I was really learning as I go. Like as I said, when I started NFTs, I didn't know anything about this world, So I was learning, and I still am learning every day to like improve myself and improve like what I create, And the only thing that I made sure since the very beginning, and it was like to really do it well, So I was, whenever I was dropping something and whenever I was like making a project or a collab, I always wanted it to be like really, really good, and to always like add something that will be like innovative into this project with the things I learned until
Right.
this project, So I wasn't really money oriented, but I was like really value oriented. So I always make sure that my art has that people see like the value in my art, as it is, and that the value always grows. So I think that's maybe why it got successful.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes total sense, right? And I guess along those lines, let's talk about your generative collection, La Mona Lana, right? It sold out, it did really well. What is your advice for artists who want to build a successful collection like that?
It really, you really need to be passionate about your collection, because when you look at like any collection, it seems like really easy to do, but there's so much work behind it, and so many like technical details. And if you're not like passionate enough about it, you will get like really tired, and maybe a little bit hungry. So you need to be passionate about it, because as long as it feels like a game, it will be okay. And something else, it will be to understand and innovate. You always need to innovate something, so like people would get eyes on it. If you're only doing the same things over and over because you see like that this project worked, I don't think it will really work. You need to do something new.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? I always tell people to kind of, work what you're passionate on. Don't do it for the money, and the money will come, right? So I think that makes
Absolutely.
a lot of sense to me. And along those lines, right, like you've been able to grow a large collector base, right, and you have a sustainable community. How do you think you were able to do that, right? Like, I guess what we're I always see you interactive on Twitter. I think you used to have, I think when you first came into the space, you had maybe a bigger following or more of a presence on Instagram. But I think now
Mm-hmm.
your presence is more on Twitter. And that's one of the things that I always tell artists as they come in is like, if you're going to be coming into the space, like go to where the collectors are, right? So what I think you realized that really early. And because of that, you've been super active on Twitter. But what were other strategies that you use to help grow your community of collectors?
So I really analyzed the space, and I saw like that there was all kind of people in this space with all kind of interests, and I saw like some people were really like art oriented, and my first collectors, um, they were really like here for only the art, and I could feel it. Some people they really like to engage with community, and they like the tech and things like that, and they're more here like for the community, and some other people are just like traders. So it's like at the time, like 1 year ago, it was like a mix of these three kind of people. So but I really wanted to reach everyone with my art, so I really like I don't really know how to explain it, but I just being aware that there's many kind of people into the space, and being able to talk with them and engage with them, and even learn from them. It's really nice. So you cannot just be an artist and only do your art. Well, you can do if that's what you want, but if you want to reach everyone, you need to be able to understand everyone. So that's why like I reach out to many like different type of people to learn from them.
Right. And in turn, I guess what do you think collectors can do in the space to help more women of color?
By their heart.
I mean, I guess
But
besides that, right? Like what
yeah,
else, right? Like, because by their art, I think is like the easy answer. But
yeah.
like, what can they do to help elevate, particularly women of color in the space?
hmm I'll say it's really whenever they have the opportunity to give the name of like an artist for like a created exhibition, or like a new project, maybe like talk about them first, and or do spaces with them, so a lot of people, okay, can see them, share their art, talk about them, like when they do like interviews or articles, really like help them gain like more exposure, because exposure is everything.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And so let's talk about your new project, right? Soulmate. Can you describe it for the audience and the real innovative way you have of unlocking soulmates?
Yeah, of course. So it's actually the first time I talk about soulmate publicly, so it's
Oh,
exciting.
amazing. Thank you so much.
But so soulmate is going to launch at the end of this month normally, but
Okay.
it's a really fun and interactive project. It is it combines gaming, art, of course, and virtual exhibition. So how can I explain it? So soulmates. So I painted 10 paintings. So the paintings, they are called souls. Okay. And they are all exhibited in a 3D virtual museum that is called the Lost Souls Museum. So it's a really beautiful
Where,
museum.
where is the
Hmm?
museum? Is it in a metaverse?
In the metaverse, yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Which
a
one?
3D. Oh, it's a 3D designer who built it from scratch. So
Ah,
it's
okay.
on its own platform, and so he created this museum for me, and there is 10 paintings inside that are called souls, and in the middle there's a very special painting that is called the soulmate, and the soulmate is actually the key of the museum, because these 10 souls that you see, you cannot buy them, you can only choose them. And in order to choose them, you need to own the soulmate. And to own the soulmate, you need to mint it um, by doing an auction. Okay, and so the holder of the soulmate is able to choose one soul. So the soul will be then sent to the holder of the soul, so the soulmate, sorry, and the soulmate will be burned and then minted again in the museum. So the soulmate evolves whenever a soul goes out of the museum. So the soulmate will evolve 10 times and it will change of appearance depending of the choice of the order of the soulmate. So if a order of the soulmate choose a piece that is royal blue, then the soulmate, when it's burn and mint again, it will look more blue. So
Right.
the soulmate will start as more abstract and then it will become more detailed until the end. And at the end of it has been burned 10 times, it will be the only piece of the museum and it will be like the more prestigious one. So it's really like a game, it's interactive and it enables the collectors to like give like to choose the appearance of the soulmate like all together,
Right.
and I've created
So
the
So, question: the
yeah.
does the final? You said you've run it 10 times so far in preparation. Does the
hmm
final does the final soulmate look different every time, or does it change every time because of the order that you input the souls in?
So it always looks different, so it's
Okay.
really evolving, so
Right.
like it never looks the same.
Right. That's awesome. I think that's really
Yeah,
cool because that gives like the collectors kind of like a way to have a say into what the final outcome is. Right.
exactly. And I feel like I came with this idea because um, whenever a collector collect one of my paintings, they always like DM me or tell me like even in spaces like why they chose it, and if they always talk in a way like it was like really meant to be. So I wanted like to play with this like concept of like soulmate with the collectors, like the souls they need a collector to find their soulmate. So like in like really like a poetic way. So I feel like
Right.
it could be a really really fun game.
Nice, that's awesome. And
hmm
so that was your inspiration, right? For why you ended up doing this was just because of the feedback you were getting?
Yeah, it was. I really wanted to really like do my own thing. I didn't want it to like use a platform to only like mint and then like sell. I really wanted like to do my. I wanted like people to like come into my world and like understand it, enjoy it, and then be able to buy my pieces. So I was so like, oh, maybe I should do like my own smart contract, but it wasn't enough. I really wanted like to do like a game,
Right.
and yeah, and I really wanted to play with this changing the metadata. So that's when I did like the soulmate evolving, like. I feel like NFT with a changing metadata is so cool. So that's what I wanted to do. And I really love 3D design. So I did one virtual gallery like exactly 1 year ago, a la Prima. And I really love the fact like of having a virtual gallery. So then I came like into like thinking that like building a museum will be really fun as well.
Yeah, so I guess that's a great question. That's a great lead for, how do you think immersive virtual art will evolve in the metaverse, right? Like, because you're obviously pushing boundaries here. What else do you see that you would like to see that you haven't seen yet?
Mm, I think like galleries, like I want to see like more galleries using like virtual reality and like really have like more immersive experience in galleries, and even like in NFTs, like when you're online, like seeing like more gaming and more like immersions. And I see it more and more, because if I came into this idea, I'm sure like a lot of people did as well. And I think like this will maybe like concretize um the market, and because there's a lot of critics about digital art, of people that don't really understand, and they say but it's not tangible. But even it's, you don't need something to be tangible to be worth something. Maybe like when they will be seeing like more and more immersive things and VR and things like that, they will like understand it more. So
Right.
I think it will be able to fill that little gap of like misunderstanding, and it will really be able like to like compete like directly with physical arts.
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that I was just thinking about that I thought was pretty interesting was, you came into the space as a purely digital artist, and you just said how you wanted to mess around with the metadata of the contract, right? And like your journey as going from somebody that, and I'm going on the very similar journey of going from this very non-technical person to more technical than like the average user, right?
Hmm.
Of technology. So I think that that's really interesting too, right? Because when we get creatives like yourself starting to work with the tech as well, you can do really cool things, right? Because like creativity is not just the art, and it's not just what you see, but very much it's like how can you creatively use technology as well, right? So I think it's really cool to see you messing around not just with like the form factor of what it looks like in the metaverse and how you interact with it, but also like on the contract side.
Hmm. Thank you. But yeah, absolutely. Because the more like I understood like everything around like NFTs, and I dive into it, the more I understood that it was its own medium, that you can really
Mhm.
use tech to create. And when I had like this decline is when like I saw like the generative art. I saw like people coding and making like masterpieces, and I was like, whoa, that's actually insane. And that's when I realized like that you can do so much with tech, and that you like
Right.
even like painting on an iPad is like a medium that the sky's the limit, or 3D art as well. But like even like really coding or using your computer can like it is a form of art as well. So it's everything.
Right. And so what are your goals in the Web3 space moving forward?
That's a good question. Um, my goals. I want more women. I want more diverse people into the space, and I want to like create like really really big projects. And I want like people like I want NFTs to be seen like not as just only the hype, but really like the tech and how like important and fun it is, and really like practical. It can be used in like so many ways, not only art. It's like everyone like can really use it. And it's not only art, it's like anything, any like
Right.
digital file can be like an NFT, and we are really really early. But I really want like to be part of like the people who like will make people understand that NFT is not like PFPs and like
Right. Yeah, that
30,000
makes total
cells,
sense.
it's like really more than that.
Right. That makes total sense. And so, before I get you out of here, one last question. What's your favorite NFT?
There's so many NFT like by someone else or by myself.
by someone else, because I
By
have to assume that your favorite ones are yours, but your favorite NFT that you own that's not yours.
that I own. I don't own a lot because whenever I see something that I really like, it's so expensive. But
Okay.
I have one that is actually really, really beautiful, and it's made by a 3D artist from Benin, and he created a piece, and it's actually a video, and you'll see a village in Benin that is called Ganvier, and it's a village on water, and he recreated this village so beautifully. And when I saw it, I was so surprised to see it because there's really really a few Beninese artists into NFTs, and when I saw it, I immediately like bought it, and I was so happy to find it because like last year I was in Ganvier, and that's when I discovered this place, and it's such a beautiful place, and people are so nice, and I was really happy like to see like an artist like paying homage to this village.
All right, that's awesome. You know that, and so thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. Best of luck on the upcoming drop. I know I'll be looking out for it. For people in the audience that want to find out more information and stay up to date with what you're working on, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Reach me on Twitter and Instagram. That's the two only social media I'm on.
Okay. All right, cool. So I'll make sure to post that in the show notes. But Lana, thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy working on the upcoming drop, so I know myself and a lot of other people are looking forward to it. So thanks for taking the time, and everyone, thanks for tuning into the show. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me.